You're listening to the PRO Media Network, the next level in entertainment.
Get ready. It's time for the Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys. Telling you everything you need to know about the Saints, Pelicans, and a whole lot more.
Welcome. You're now rocking with Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys. We have intense, entertaining, educating, and enlightening sport talk from your favorite sports family. Once again, I'm Big Q. This is podcast 344 on the Sports Coma. 344 on the Coma. Big deal today for the Saints. Finally, after 2 long weeks, Saints finally eke a deal with Jared Cook. Get the deal done, signed, and delivered. We're going to cover it today on the Sports Coma, of course, like we usually do. Also, other topics we're going to cover on the show. Big things happen at the owner meetings down in the NFL at the owner meetings. Got some good news on some particular changes that us here at the Black and Gold Nation wanted to see happen. Really good news on both fronts. Jared Cooks and, of course, some of these rules. We're going to break it down today on the Sports Coma. Also, particulars on defensive lineman Malcolm Brown, the former first-round draft pick Patriot lineman. Contract details. We have those for you today. We'll go over them. Of course, and then we'll have Coach Payton chiming in from the owners' meetings on his thoughts on some of the free agents. And this is the first time we hear from Sean Payton since the end of the season. So, once again, welcome aboard for new and established family to the Sports Coma. Once again, we are the #1 independent Saints podcast in the land. And much love to all the Sports Coma family and all of the people that's supporting us and big upping us. Hitting the subscribe button, the notification button, sharing the show, all that great stuff that you do. Thank you for everything that you guys are doing, and welcome in my traditional fashion to the show. Now, getting right into it, podcast 344, Jared Cook finally signs the damn deal. Of course, we did a show yesterday, and I was just terribly frustrated, man, on all this crap about will he or won't he, and he's finally working on this. It just feel good to get the damn thing over with. Saints finally get him. They ink him to a 2-year deal between 15 and 16, like we said yesterday. Actually, it's 2 years at $15.5 million. 2 years for Jared Cook, $15.5 million. And I can hear right now in my ear some of my Sports Coma family saying, Q, you know that's too much money to pay a 31-year-old tight end $15 million for 2 years. Well, that depends. That depends on what you want to see. He was the best free agent tight end on the game in the free agent market. The Saints signed him. He fills the obvious hole that they had. Remember, let me ask you guys out there that think for a second that, let's just put it like this. In the NFC Championship game, Drew Brees dropped back, throw a pass to a tight end in the end zone. The guy drops it. I'm not going to say who dropped it. You already know who dropped it. I went over it several times on previous podcasts. Do you think for a second Jared Cook would have dropped that touchdown pass? Let me just ask you that. Would he have dropped that pass that Drew Brees in the NFC Championship game? Would Jared Cook would he have dropped that touchdown pass? The answer is hell no. We went on to the Super Bowl. But the reality at the end of the day is it didn't happen like that. But the Saints are not taking any chances. They finally inked this man after 2 weeks of courting him, going back and forth, silence on the front. I mean, the government can learn something from how the Saints kept all this stuff hush until the last minute. Anyway, they inked him to a 2-year deal, $15.5 million. That's reported by the NFL Network. Contract includes $8 million in guaranteed money. And, of course, Cook has played 10 seasons in the NFL, including the last 2 with the Raiders. And pretty much Sean Payton was quoted as saying it gives us a threat opposite of Mike. Mike Thomas, of course. And he also said a lot of times where Mike lines up is opposite of the tight end. We feel like we have some good tight ends in the building that have roles and visions for that. We have roles and visions for. But we feel like Jared has a unique skill set, and we saw a lot of good tape from him. Now, last year, he had 68 catches for 896 yards and 6 touchdowns. That was his first Pro Bowl that he made last year. He had some really good games last year, including against the Rams, where he had 180 receiving yards, which set a franchise record for tight ends for the Raiders. That's a big deal there, as esteemed that they are. But this is a very good signing, and the Saints really did it big. This was a really humbling move because he fills a gaping hole at the tight end position. He's a guy that can block and catch the ball. So this is a major, major, major pickup for the Saints. We're glad we finally got him inked. And, what do you guys think about this move? Was it too much to sign? But, of course, you have Drew Brees for possibly one more year. And plus, this guy is not a distraction. He was attempting an event honoring the NFL's Ed Block Courage Award winners, which is he's a guy that has impeccable character, a hard worker, and he is just going to add to what the Saints bring in there. So, like I said, $8 million guaranteed out of a 2-year, $15.5 million for Jared Cook. So welcome to the Saints. Finally, Jared Cook, he is officially a member of the Who Dat Nation. Today, we'd like to welcome him aboard to the Saints. So, hey, y'all, we finally got him. And we can just stop looking at the fact that they're working on something. We finally got the man. So big ups to the Saints for finally getting the deal done. Next topic. We're going to cover the fact that a lot of good news for the Saints today besides the Jared Cook move. It's also now that some voting has done and all pass interference calls, and this is being reported on by the Advocate, that all pass interference calls can now be reviewed after major vote by NFL owners and coaches. So a lot of traction. Before they saying there wasn't no traction there. They wasn't going to do nothing about it. But the pressure of the fans, the pressure of the coaches, and finally some owners in the building that had spines say, we got to change this. We can't allow something to happen in that NFC Championship game the way it did. You got two of these stupid-ass referees standing there looking at each other, and none of them make an obvious call. That, to me, is showing you playing with my intelligence, because I've read several books, and there's different information out there on how referees fix games. If the leagues are going to control games, they usually control them through the officials. You can't criticize them. You can't say anything bad. They could be 100% wrong, but you can't say a damn thing about them or you'll be fined. To me, that's very suspicious. But the reality at the end of the day is big money exchange hands in these big money leagues. So corruption follows the big money. You guys got to remember that. Also remember that we're not children watching the game. We grown as adults. And as grown as adults, you see something like that, it plays with your intelligence. That you see both referees on top of the play, but they don't make any play. They don't make the call. That throws major red flags up in my mind of watching stuff like this, because we know where most of this stuff is tied to. But at the end of the day, the NFL decided to do something about it. So to squelch down a lot of that stuff. And they have made the decision that all offensive and defensive pass interference calls, in addition to non-calls, that's a huge one because ours was a 9 call, can now be challenged in NFL games. Coaches and owners approved here at the league meeting on Tuesday. Now, NFL.com is reporting on a change saying that a call on non-called pass interference infraction can be challenged by coaches during the game before 2 minutes. Then in the final 2 minutes, the process goes to booth reviews. Now, that's getting it right. Now, according to ESPN, Sean Payton said the league's competition committee approved the new replay rules 8-0, and the full body ownerships approved it 31-1. I guarantee the one that voted against was Stan Kroenke, that asshole out there for the Rams. I guarantee he was the lone guy that was against it. In order for a rule change, a proposal had to be approved by 24 of the league's 32 owners. This was almost unanimous. Now, Saints owner Gail Benson talked about the vote before. She said the owners are very compassionate about it. They understand it because they know it could have happened to them. Now, of course, this is a huge move in fixing a major wrong, and it kind of eases the pain a little bit. kind of eases the pain a little bit, knowing that now the rule change has happened. So what do you guys think about the rule change? Kind of common sense, isn't it? Well, guess what? The Saints were able to, lose. They lost that game in part because of that terrible rule. But at the end of the day, they've made the decision to change it where all pass interference calls can now be reviewed and 9 calls can be reviewed. So that is major as well for the Saints. Now, going into some other news dealing with the Saints, details from defensive tackle Malcolm Brown's contract is available. As you know, the big man signed a 3-year deal worth $15 million. Now, here's a look at some of his contract here in 2019. Now, his signing bonus was $4.5 million. Total guarantees of $7.5 million. His base salary is just $1 million in 2019. It jumps to $14.1 million in 2020, which 2 of it is guaranteed. $2 million of it is guaranteed. He has a 46-man roster bonus at $300,000, workout bonus at $100K. And then in 2020, his base salary goes from 4.1 to 4.6. And then, of course, his 46-man roster bonus stays the same at $300K and workout bonus at $300K. So initially, it's what Mickey Mouse Loomis does that first year, $1 million to keep it low, and then back ends the money into the following years to kind of kick the can down the road, as it were. That's some of the particulars on Malcolm Brown. Now, he comes in and replaces Tyler Davison. I feel like he's a major upgrade. Some people feel not so much, but I think so. I think Malcolm Brown will really help the Saints in a major capacity. Now, moving ahead, let's listen to what Coach Sean Payton. Let's hear a little of Coach Payton at the owners' meeting to talk about his team's acquisition. Here's Coach Payton.
Oh, listen, you're going to lose some good players like that, but 14, we lost a lot, a number of guys. I'm excited about our group. I know the leadership that we have in the locker room is strong, extremely strong. So I'm excited about that. I'm excited. I know our players will be. It's always challenging when you lose a player that has been with you a long time. I was a big part of us drafting him and going back into the first round in 2011. He's going to a great organization, and I'm sure he'll continue to bring those skill sets to Baltimore. Meanwhile, we have a young team, but a team that I think has real strong leadership.
Sean, was bringing in
was
bringing in Malcolm Brown kind of a necessity with Sheldon's situation?
We just had to address the defensive line position, and part of that was, all right, Tyler's a free agent, and Sheldon is going to be up against the timeline when we start the year. I think David, it wasn't as much about David Onyemata as it was about Sheldon's injury. And then put that with Tyler, who's removed from it. So it was a must position. We were able to sign, a couple players there, but we just felt like, look, if the season were to start as we came out of last year, Sheldon was unhealthy, Tyler's a free agent, and you really had, our young player and Onyemata. So
losing Okafor, relating to that, how much does how do you think the development of Davenport last season? How do you think he played?
Good. Part of it was just him getting over the injury to his toe. We'll have a third rusher, and Trey will be competing, but we'll have other candidates to come in there and help us. But we felt good about when he was healthy, what we saw, real good.
It seems like Jared Cook is going to be a Saint at some point. Is that accurate?
Yeah, I would say that my understanding is he's signed.
So the Patriots aren't going to swoop in and, since Kraft retired, swipe him real quick.
My understanding is he's signed. He's excited. We're excited to have him.
But how much? Obviously, when you have a good pass catcher, it's an element probably in the offense you'd like to have.
Yeah. I think it gives us a threat opposite of Mike. A lot of times where Mike lines up is opposite the tight end. We feel like we've got some good tight ends in the building that we have roles and visions for. But I think Jared's got a unique skill set, and we saw a lot of good tape of him.
Sean, just to be clear, you said he's signed or signing?
My understanding is he signed a contract.
He's signed.
ED.
How different is the draft process this time around since you don't have a pick in the first round?
Well, I think you got to prepare for it just like any other draft. You got to prepare, set your board the very same way. Look, you can always get a first-round pick. My point is, though, I'm not suggesting we will, but you can always get one. And you know, if a player fell to a certain spot, so you prepare the board accordingly and thoroughly. How many players do you see? I don't think you can prepare the board just specifically to where you think. Now, our interviews at Indy might have been more geared towards our second round selection, you know, who we bring in to visit. But I think you got to prepare your board and prepare for the draft very much the same way each year.
Can I ask one more
Yeah.
question? On being able to challenge a non-call, would that be just during specific times in the game, or would that be
Throughout.
throughout the game?
And
it
one
would be
last thing.
decided by a sky judge?
No, it would. If I'm making a challenge, it would be through our normal challenge system. The one unique thing about 6B, so it would be the only time I would be able to challenge throughout the first and second half. And inside 2 minutes, replay potentially could stop the game in the event that they saw a missed OPI DPI. So
That's Coach Sean Payton with some information on a bevy of topics, not to mention thoughts on newly acquired players, previous players. He spoke about Mark Ingram's situation and a number of situations. You know, the Malcolm Brown signing, talking about Tyler Davidson's role. A lot of good insight in that interview because it showed the fact that Sean Payton was thinking more of the Sheldon Rankins thing, which is what we talked about. We talked about Sheldon Rankins. He's not going to be ready for when the season comes, and signing guys to fill in for him like Malcolm Brown and other players that's coming along. It'll be a needed addition, no doubt about it. And, of course, don't forget the fact that the Saints did bring in Robert Quinn yesterday. No information on Robert Quinn as it stands. You know, I've got any reports, pretty much all reports about that he's coming to visit. No word on it. So the Saints trying to address the pass rush situation. They added help at the defensive tackle position with Brown and others. Very unique addings, safeties. Is possibly the next thing we got to do. And of course, the Sports Coma question of the day has to deal with Dez Bryant. With the addition of Jared Cook, do we need Dez Bryant? You have Ted Ginn Jr., you have Traquan Smith, got Kirkwood. What say you, sports family, Who Dat Nation, Black and Gold Troop? What do you think about that? Do we need Dez Bryant? Chime in on the comment section. That'll do it for the show. Thank you for joining us on the Sports Coma. As always, if you enjoyed the show, please hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell, share the show with all your friends, family members, even your enemies. Maybe you can make them your friends. But anyway, thank you for listening to the show. We'll be back with more Saints news and notes. Stay tuned. Peace.
I'm a Saints and Pelicans fan, so the only podcast I can get my fix is the Sports Coma with Big Q. The guy's intense, funny, and they always keep it real.
Check out the Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys.
Embrace Pet Insurance is more than just pet insurance. Embrace Pet Insurance promises to provide genuine support and certainty when your pet needs it the most. with personalized accident and illness policies, compassionate customer care, 24/7 access to veterinary professionals, flexible wellness plans, timely claims processing, and online customer portals. Their values is what makes them embrace. So, when selecting a pet insurance company as a partner in your pet's care, you deserve a company that has your pet's best interests at heart. Get top-rated and reviewed coverage for your pet today. Up to 90% back on bills at any vet, total protection, pet insurance, and wellness, and dependable claims payments. Get the top-rated and reviewed coverage for your pet today. Go to embracepetiinsurance.com. That's embracepetiinsurance.com. Check the link in the description section below.
Are you a boxing fan? Check out Ring Kings Boxing only on the PRO Media Network.
Sports fans are gearing up and saving big at Fanatics.com, the world's largest collection of officially licensed fan gear. From all the leagues, teams, and players you love, unique one-of-a-kind designs exclusively by Fanatics, and autographed collectibles from today's biggest stars shipped directly to your home. Join Fanatics Rewards for free to earn fan cash on every purchase. Shop now and for a limited time, get 20% off all orders. Fanatics.com, officially licensed everything.
Hit the link below and rep the black and gold today. Who that? Do you need a domain name? How about a host for your website that can work with WordPress? Try Namecheap.com. They make registering, hosting, and managing domain names for yourself or others easy and affordable because the internet needs people. Namecheap is an ICANN accredited domain register and technology company founded in 2000. It's one of the fastest growing American companies according to the 2018 Inc. 5000, celebrating nearly 2 decades of providing unparalleled levels of service, security, and support. Namecheap has been steadfast in customer satisfaction with over 10 million domains under management. Namecheap is among the top domain registers and web providers in the world. They offer a full selection of popular and unique domains along with fully featured hosting packages, SSL security certificates, WhoisGuard privacy protections, and more, all at the lowest prices in the industry. So if you need a domain name or hosting or anything else, think Namecheap.com. That's right, Namecheap.com. Check the description section below for link.
Follow the Sports Coma on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube.